South America is an elite continent. Where else do you get mountains that rise up and lift most of the land above altitudes no one would live, and the largest rainforest on the earth? But even better, there's a country where both then meet.
And so I decided to go to Peru, the land of the Andes, the Inca, and weird sorts of food. The Andes Mountains had always been a calling for me. The unique wildlife, the history, everything about it made me absolutely excited. And so I decided to spend 2 weeks in Peru, and this is a documentary of what I saw. I had arrived in the city of Lima and had to make my way up to the northern parts of the country to Huaraz. The Spanish colonial city would act as an initial gateway to my adventures in the Andes Mountains. So check it out. Hello, how are you? So check it out, this is Lima. Got a little sort of a mall, sort of a Plaza Norte. And I'm going to look for a bus to take me to Huaraz. Huaraz is a city that's very, very high up in the Andes Mountains, and we're at the coast here in Lima. So let's see if we can find it. Now, there were a bunch of options available, but I just cannot speak a word of Spanish to save my life, so it took a bit long to secure this ticket for the 8-hour bus ride. Sorted, got my tickets. So it cost 82 sols, which comes to about $20. It's not terrible for an 8-hour bus ride. No. So they're saying the mountains do start in Lima. They get much, much higher. I was absolutely exhausted by this point. After 17 hours of flying and I had a 9-hour bus ride ahead of me. And at least for me, it was one of these comfortable buses that had reclining seats in it, which was really, really cool. And we started making our way through what was currently the desert, up to the Andes Mountains. As we started to climb, the landscapes became much more dramatic, as I got my first taste of the mosaic of landscapes in this country. I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but my stomach was also an absolute mess, making it quite an unpleasant bus journey. As we passed the 3,000 meter mark though, the vegetation made way to some pristine Andean mountainland, as I got my first taste of what for centuries has brought many an explorer to these lands. As night fell, the bus hit Huaraz, and at this point all I had to do was hail a taxi and finally get some sleep.
What's your name? What is your name is?
No English.
No English.
¿Qué país?
Spanish. Americano? South African.
South Africa.
South African, yeah.
But that's when problems sort of hit. This guy had somehow overbooked the booking.com, so I had to go stay at a different hotel for the night. So it's finally morning here again in Huaraz, and here we go. That's why it's the gateway for a lot of people looking to explore the Andean Mountains. I don't have too much time here, just a couple days. Use day to acclimatize and then do one of the hikes around. But it'd be nice to just have a look. Last night was something else. As I showed the little video now, the guy came to my room. Well, I got to the first hotel. It was I run a space for you, we're booking to another hotel down the road. Takes me to a hotel down the road. Then his father comes into my room. He's trying to negotiate me to cancel booking.com or some other stuff. I'm not too sure. And I said, look, we'll sort out tomorrow morning. I'm tired. And went away, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But again, yeah, it is peak season here. July is peak. Thought it would be cold, maybe, but as you can see, short sleeves. It's not that bad at all. And it's now 6:37 a.m. in the morning, so yeah. Let's check out what we can get for breakfast in the city of Huaraz.
Got the normal Oreos. Just how beautiful is this town. So if I was to stay here for a day, maybe run around, do some stuff to acclimatize. Because Huaraz sits at 3,200 meters above sea level. And the hike I'm doing tomorrow happens at maybe 4,500 meters above sea level. Don't acclimatize, you're not going to be able to deal with the lack of oxygen that there is.
My eSIM was not working, unfortunately, so I detoured to the city center for a SIM card. I won't name it company.
So we're going to try this. It looks like a dish here that doesn't have, it's only seafood, it seems, yeah. Okay, so I found a little spot here. They seem to have seafood dishes with beans. That's what they call it. They have a special name for it. I'll find it now. But let's see. Fish. Some...
This is a Peruvian delicacy called ceviche. Basically, it's a bunch of raw fish served in a very spiced up vinegar beans which disintegrates the fish for you. With a side of fried squid, it was actually quite a decent meal.
That's it's done. What do you guys think is the cost? I'm saying foreigner rates most probably going to be 20 soles. It's about 20 soles is about $5, $6, maybe a bit more. How much?
12 soles.
Maybe like 10.
No.
No, wait, 10.
Así.
This
Y
one?
dos, ajá, y 2 soles.
$2.
Ajá.
Okay, okay.
Ya.
10.
2 soles falta. Ya.
Okay.
Gracias.
Gracias, thank you. That was too bad. 12 soles is the equivalent of about $3, $3.50. Let's go on a little walk, shall we? Guy I'm staying at said there's a very good viewpoint from here. It's about, when I checked up on Google, it's a little bit of 5 kilometers, 6 kilometer walk. It's not too bad. And there's also about a 250 meter elevation gain, which I think would be great acclimatization. That there's fines for illegal dumping. It's like huge 515 soles, which is like $110, but don't seem to be working. When I came down here, the one thing I had to do was take some L2 sickness pills, which my first one this morning. The one thing I was told was to make sure to drink a lot of electrolytes. You'll see there are a lot of electrolyte adverts out here. Lots.
Huaraz is an amazing city to walk through, located in the valleys of the Ancash province of Peru, alongside the Santa River. The history of the city runs deep till before the Incan Empire, when the Hualayas settled here. They were later integrated into the Incan Empire, but much of that history has been erased by the Spanish conquistadors which came in the 16th century. Being an absolute hotbed for deposits like silver and tin, this city was of economic importance to anyone in the region. And today, colonial architecture reigns supreme. But being the largest city in the Ancash highlands of Peru, it is the absolute rest place for anyone wanting to explore the Andes Mountains.
There's the city center, and we're getting very much towards the edge of the city center. Place I love to be, the place where you see what really happens. That's a scary looking dog, what's that? But now we continue this walk up towards this viewpoint, which I really hope is worth it. Because the elevation is currently 3,200 meters, and I'm climbing another 300 meters almost to get you. So let's hope it is worth it. Should be. I've seen the mountains around the city, they're absolutely gorgeous. Seems to have reached a market of some sort. That's what they've got. Everything the usual market has, and a bit more. Down at this gate ahead, this is a towing walk. We're making decent pace. Google Maps time keeps coming down. But these climbs are hell. Especially when you can feel the air. Then you can feel it when you're not doing anything. When you're climbing, feel it. Going okay so far though. I really hope this view is worth it. Made it quite high up now, and as you can see, got the city right down below me. Going just further up into the Andes. Get a nice view. Apparently you see some of the bigger peaks around here that are all covered in snow. Some of the peaks in the distance just giant out. Next guy coming up, he tells me now you're nearly there. Just go, get to a cross sorts, that's the best viewpoint. Let's just keep moving. Final station, I'll right up to the top, which is just up there. I can take a nice picture of this. We'll wait for those clouds to clear, because it's spoiling my party a bit, but it's absolutely stunning. To a city of 100,000 people down here, just in a valley, and that valley is still 3,200 meters above sea level.
I then reached a church/cafe sitting about 3,400 meters above sea level. I got a quick glimpse as to why they call this the Switzerland of the South. The next day I would do a hike at nearly 4,800 meters of altitude, and so I went down and loaded up on some Inca Cola. It's made from coca leaves, which act as a natural vasodilator, which means it should help you with altitude sickness. Also illegal in a few countries, as this is the raw ingredient in cocaine. The next morning I was up bright and early to make my way even further into the Andes Mountains, into the heart of Huascarán National Park, the gateway to exploring the Andes. The first thing that hit me as somebody who doesn't see glacial lakes that often is just absolutely how blue the waters were here. An absolutely stunning part of the world, and a place I felt privileged to spend time. Huascarán National Park constantly rates among some of the most beautiful places on the planet. Being designated a protector in 1975, it also harbors the only bear in the southern hemisphere, the spectacled bear, although I don't have much luck with that. But it didn't bother me, the scenery was absolutely unmatched. Not having time to do the usual 5 and 6 day trails around the park, I went for the shorter route, Laguna 69. Now before your mind runs through some negative connotations, it's just the 69th lake that was found in this area when they started mapping it, and as people say, one of the most beautiful. Getting here though was a little bit tougher. The elevation gain is brutal. You climb about 1,000 meters, starting at about 3,800 meters above sea level and finishing at about 4,800. If you aren't used to hiking altitude, it can be absolutely deadly. But through the power of Gatorade and Biltong, and taking the odd stop along the way to take in the beautiful views, I managed to make it up to Laguna 69, 8 kilometer hike, 1,000 meter elevation gain done in just under 3 hours. This gave me a good hour to take in the views, and I did think about jumping in, but at -1 degree Celsius there was no way in hell. The hike back down is a lot less taxing on your body, and really allows you to open up the camera shutter a lot more. By nightfall I arrived back in Huaraz, and that I included my Andean adventure for now. The next part, Peru's second most populated city, Cusco, in search of Machu Picchu.